Bandwidth for This Week in Photography is brought to you by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
Okay, so I just found this to be, this isn't really high tech, but at the same time, it is kind of high tech. So we see a lot of stuff where things are printed onto fabric. That's not what this is. This is actually woven fabric. So what's happening here is this is a company that's been doing tapestries for 200 years. They were trying to find a way to do it a little bit faster, a little bit more efficiently, and so they figured out a way to take photographs of tapestry and convert it to actual threading in the machine. So it's a pretty fascinating thing, and someone threw a photo in there, and they were like, well, that's pretty cool too. And so what they have here is you can take a photo, and you can actually have it built into a tapestry. You can have it built into a tapestry, you can have it built into a pillow, you can have it built into a purse, you can have it built into a little bag, into a blanket. So all of these things, anything that you would normally have that's sewn, you can have it built into it from that photograph. Now, the interesting thing is once again, it's not printed. You see a lot of this stuff that's all being printed onto these things, and that's great, but this is an actual weave. It's picking the color of the thread based on the photograph. And so you're really ending up with something that's going to last a lot longer. It's a certain level of class, I guess, for a photo that's on a thing. I have to admit that before you roll your eyes and you think that this is kind of an odd thing to be talking about at PMA, I'm already imagining my wife is going to really enjoy having my kids on a big blanket. She show. I mean, that's the reality. She's going to think it's really cool. So will my mother-in-law, and probably so will my mother and my dad and my grandmother. And so I can imagine a lot of these. That's the kind of thing, that kind of emotional gift that you might like. So anyway, once again, and this is you can, if you're a photographer, it's something you can do as a service. If you're an individual, there's ways to do it. And once again, it's called Portrait Weavers, and it's just a fantastic kind of fun way to use photographs. So now these are canvases that you've probably seen before. Whether you're at an art show or at a gallery, a lot of times they take images that have been painted, and of course they reprint them onto canvas. And these can be done as collector's items, as limited editions, and so on and so forth. Now you can get your own collectible edition of your own photo. So if you look at this isn't a painting, that's a photo. And this is a company called Your Photo on Canvas. And so what you're seeing there is an actual image that is uploaded and simply printed. Now there's a lot of people who are printing these out of their garage, and there's a lot of services that do it. But what really distinguishes this company is that they have a long background in it, over 20 years of printing to canvas. So they really know what they're talking about. When you upload something to them, and let me show you a couple more. Here's some, and these are really, really rich colors. I mean, they've been really kind of corrected that way. I think part of what they're doing here is showing off that they can do really rich colors. I don't think that necessarily is what all of it is. They're really, there's a lot of HDR, so it has a certain look to it. But what you have here is these great images that you can actually just simply throw onto canvas, and it's just a much more classic feel. I mean, this is definitely, as soon as I saw this, I was like, I really need to get my family photos, which I haven't printed out yet, haven't gone through the trouble yet, and now I'm thinking that canvas may be the way to go. Now, it can cost you, most of what their service is for professional photographers to add this to what they're providing to their clients. And so a lot of what they're doing here is talking to those photographers and doing this as kind of a back end for them. I do think that there's some kind of retail opportunity, but you want to take a look at it. Once again, it's your photos on canvas, and it might be a great way for you to take that classic, family photo and make it truly classic. Okay, so I'm going to show you a company in the U.S. you may not have heard of. If you're in Germany, you probably have heard of these guys. This is a Made in Germany booth. And this little section here that we're in is the Novaflex section. And I got to say, I fell instantly in love. I walked by and I just looked over and I was like, oh, what is that? So check this out. This is a magic ball. And I can loosen it here, and I just have a very high degree of control as far as it's kind of like the ball head that you're used to in kind of an inverted style. it's pretty nifty. And now, one of the things that they've spent a lot of time thinking about and applying German engineering to is the quadrupod. So here's a little quadrupod, and you got 4 legs, a little more sturdy in many ways than a tripod, but it's also very modular. Check this out. Now this is a slightly here. Look at this head here. So you see, this head looks a lot like this head, except it looks a lot different here. And the reason it looks different, of course, is that you can swap these legs out. So these are standard legs, very sturdy, and a great setup. But sometimes you want to be up against something, and you can still have this small tripod that you can just simply swap the leg out. If you want to stick it to a piece of glass, you've got a suction cup right here. So you can actually suction cup. Now, of course, you can use all of them be suction cups, all of them be the short tripod, all of them be the long tripod. So there's a lot of freedom in how you kind of build this based on, it's kind of an erector set for tripods or quadrupods. Now, come over here. I'll show you one more piece here. So here you can see it actually attached. You could attach it to a shelf, and only part of it to a shelf. Here you got a shelf. Here you've got a suction cup that's stuck there, and here you've got the the legs here. So there's a lot of options. There's a lot of ways to use this. Now, they also make QuickTime VR rigs. They put those together. So here you have some very nice, clean QuickTime VR or spherical rigs. Now, the other thing that I just fell instantly in love with that I just had to show you, which is this. Check this out. This is the Ball Pro TS. This is a bellows system. This is a tilt shift bellows system. So I can scroll it back and forth. I can pull it back and forth. I can lean it back and forth, and this is going to give you very selective focus. It's a lot of us have talked about lens babies. This is kind of a lens baby on steroids, and so now it costs a lens baby on steroids too. This is about $1,200, but you can attach it to your regular camera. You can put a Canon back here and have whatever lens you want on the front. You can mix and match. Say you got a Canon and a bunch of Nikon lenses. Well, you're kind of setting this all up independently, so it doesn't really matter how you get it set up. And then I can scroll back and forth here. And so for really artsy photos, this is just such an interesting little piece. And I have to admit, it just makes you want to take photos. I mean, it just gives you kind of that craftiness and brings that all back into it. So anyway, the company's called Novoflex, and the tools are just awesome. So we're here with a company, again, in the Made in Germany section. We've got a lot of them from Germany. I think that there's a lot of people thinking about photography there. So anyway, we're here at Foolography, and what they do is they make this little box, and you're probably wondering what this little box is for. This is a connector for a GPS unit. So what you can do is you can see this. It's actually attached to this Nikon. Now, this is only available for Nikons because Canon hasn't opened up the format to allow this to happen. So you got to have a Nikon to be able to make this work. But what you do is if you have this little adapter attached here, and you've got any of these GPS units that actually have Bluetooth, they can communicate with that, and it's going to attach the GPS data right to the EXIF data within your camera. So you don't have to have something else that you're carrying around. You also don't have to have a big tether. You don't have to have a lot of things that you would normally have. It's just a nice little piece there. You can have the GPS unit wherever it makes the most sense for getting a good signal, and so and it's going to get it all onto your images as you're shooting. And so if I had a Nikon, which I don't have right now, but I'm thinking about it just because I need to have, I really want GPS. GPS is the future of a lot of this stuff, and it makes me very excited to see something that is as easy and as compact as this Foolography, and it's called Foolography, and it's called